I just got off the phone with a friend, and after talking with him, I realized I'm not alone. Over the course of the last, I think, few months, maybe even a year, I didn't really get an exact time span from him, but for me, it was the last 3 years, 3.5 years, if you will, just high school. It's a very strange place. Myself and this guy, I don't really see us as bad people. I I love this kid. He's amazing. Super funny dude, super nice dude, respectable guy, respectful guy. I think it's it's so strange to talk about. We both were in a place, and I think he still is, in a place where we could never really connect with people, especially on a romantic level. Whenever you're in high school, you see all your friends getting into these relationships, and you're just like, can that be me? Can that please be me for once? Can I be happy? Can I have somebody else who cares about me in such a way that feels so special? Can somebody else love me? Um, well, high school is definitely the place to, I guess, explore and figure out your emotions. And unfortunately, I think both of us have found that out the hard way. You go from person to person, whether you're nice or evil about it. All you want to do is connect with people, whether it's lustful or not, loveful or not. All you want to do is just find somebody to connect with, somebody to love, feel loved by somebody else. The both of us have always had that love to give. And maybe it was always reciprocated to us, but we never knew it because we couldn't feel that connection from, you know, us to this other girl, whoever we were with at the time, right? And it sounds horrible, it sounds evil, and I feel evil talking about it, but again, I feel like I'm definitely not the only person here, and I'm clearly not the only person here if somebody else is talking to me about something that I also felt. And you probably aren't alone either if you know exactly what I'm talking about. I bet your ex, or you, if you're watching this and you're in a similar predicament, maybe they aren't a horrible person. Maybe they just haven't found somebody to connect with, and that's okay. The first person you meet isn't going to be your husband or your wife, and that's okay. The first person you meet isn't going to be your best friend, and that's okay. Relationships are meant to be special, and that's why they're special. These connections aren't always going to be instantaneous, and high school is definitely as I said earlier, a special place for that. High school is very weird because you start becoming a person, you start becoming a human, you start becoming an adult. You start having feelings, you start getting a job, you start doing all of these things, you start hanging out with friends, you start partying, you find all of these things and you find all of these emotions, all of them that could or couldn't be love included. And so for some of us, we lack that connection. We lack that love, that feeling of love, or that feeling of giving love. And it's difficult. It's definitely difficult. Over a 2 year span, I basically had to gaslight myself into feeling a connection because I didn't want to be honest with this person. Again, a great person, fantastic person. I've talked about her time and time again. I still feel horrible. I should have just been honest with her from the start. I just felt roped in, and eventually she caught on to my facade, and I'm I just hope she does well. And I feel like 80% of that's my fault because I couldn't communicate my feelings to her. Whether they were positive or negative, I put a mask on. Currently, I'm in a situation where I do feel a connection with somebody. She's very special, and I want to keep it maintained. This feeling to me is genuine, but I can't say the same for the past 3 years. And my friend feels the same way, at least for the past, few situations he's had. But I'm glad he's realized this, and I'm glad I have somebody to share this feeling with. It's so strange to admit that you don't feel anything. And yes, I've talked about this before on my TikTok. I've talked about this before in general, maybe to other people. But to understand and have that clarity that you aren't alone, to recognize that others feel the same way as you almost create a connection with them. Maybe it's not loveful, but it's another sense of connection. It's another sense of, I'm not a robot. I have a soul, and I'm not an evil person, and I want to be better. Is it my fault? Maybe a little bit. Some of it I can, some of it I can't control. I think you're bored. I think a large majority of issues come from being bored and having too much time on your hands, especially lust. I struggle with that a lot, and I still don't know if I want to make that video yet or not, because I don't know if I have the guts right now to talk about that. But it's definitely a challenge, and I've been through it, and I have friends who have been through that. And I think, again, lust comes from a lack of feeling and giving of love. It's definitely very strange. And I think most people try to substitute lust for love. And so you lust and you lust and you lust in hopes that you can feel a loveful connection with somebody. That's probably why it's very prevalent in society today, because nobody can feel love for somebody specifically. It's unfortunate. I think I've seen it time and time again. And again, I don't necessarily think these people are at fault. They're just too scared to open up and be honest with somebody that maybe they don't feel the same way about somebody else. Be honest with people. Be open and be vulnerable, even if it's the most difficult task of all, because it's only going to get more difficult with time. It's just going to end up worse. Worse and worse and worse if you don't do something about it. So, with that being said, maybe you aren't horrible. Maybe, I don't want to use that word, but maybe you just aren't as big of a douche as you think you are by going from person to person to person. Maybe you're just confused. And yes, whenever your parents say that, it might have a different context. I kid, I joke. Maybe you just haven't figured it all out yet, and that's okay. Even if you're 20 years old, you still don't have to figure it out. You don't have to have your partner designated for you yet. You could find them at 60 if you really want to. It's your life. It's special in that way, and while I don't recommend waiting till you're 60 to find somebody who's for you, again, life happens. As a wise person once told me, life's, people, and the world goes on. So, these connections aren't always going to be perfect. Again, you aren't always going to connect with people in the way that you want to. You aren't always going to feel love for somebody. You can love everybody in the sense that you would give your wallet to somebody who dropped it whenever they were running by, and it could be the same way for everybody else that passes by. You still love everybody, but you can't give your love to everybody in a romantic way, because that is for a special person that you connect with on a very deep level. And whether you find that now or 10 years down the road, that's what's so special about it. And yes, I keep rewording everything and reciprocating that, like throughout this video. But that's just life. Life's going to repeat itself, and clearly it has if you've been through these similar situations. It's person after person after person, and you still don't feel different. Be self-aware. Notice these things, notice these issues if something hasn't changed yet. Start understanding yourself and start recognizing your own emotions. Maybe you don't have any yet, and that's okay. Maybe you can connect with this video. That's all I hope you can do. I'm going to try and get some sleep, but I felt like this was very much needed for myself, for my friend that was talking to me, and maybe somebody else that feels very similarly. Have a good night.